So you may have seen there's a few devices become available on the market which claim to measure your brain waves or your EEG and use that to control games or to fly a helicopter, or there's even a device which is my particular favourite, which is called the neco, which is a pair of cat ears, and it claims to use your brain power to measure your emotions and shows whether you're happy or whether you're sad, and if you're talking to a person whether you like them or if you hate them. So it's kind of showing the world what you're thinking. So these devices are all quite interesting, quite exciting, but as we've seen in previous videos, it's actually quite difficult to measure a clean EEG signal without also measuring artifacts such as your eye blinks, just your movements generally, or even like your muscle activity in your face all affects the signal. So as you can't see what these devices are actually measuring as a raw signal and all you can see is the output, so the ears moving or the actual game, we're interested to see what they're actually measuring because we found it difficult to do this before. So as an example, we're using the MindFlex device today, and this is what the MindFlex looks like, and it just has a simple dry electrode which goes on your forehead, and then it has a ground electrode which goes to your ear, and then your negative electrode goes to your other ear. And the internal circuit that controls the device, controls the game, is this. And it just takes the signals from these electrodes and it does a Fourier transform on them, and so you just get the different frequency bands and it uses that to control the game. So we've removed this and we're just interested to see what's actually being measured just by these electrodes. So we've just taken a cable out. Okay, and I'll put this on. There we go. Okay, that's it. And then you may remember our bioamplifier from our previous videos. So we'll be using that again today. And we're just going to connect the ground to the middle, and then our positive electrode and our negative. I'll just put this on my arm. Now you may remember in previous videos when we've been measuring EEG, we've used a gel electrode. So this is our gel electrode here that we would typically use to measure biosignals, and we'd usually clean the area where we connect the electrode and abrade the skin to remove dead skin cells, oil that's on the skin or makeup or anything else, and that gives a better connection and lowers the skin impedance and allows us to record a cleaner signal. And what's interesting about most of these devices that are available on the market is they just use a dry electrode and they don't recommend for you to clean the skin or anything, so it'd be interesting to see what we're going to record today. So let's have a look at our signal, and that's clearly 50 Hz noise we're just seeing at the minute, so we can remove that with our notch filter and see what's underneath. Now there's definitely a signal. We can look at the Fourier transform of that to see what frequencies we're measuring. And now we can see if we can measure any artifacts, so we'll try eye blinks. And that's definitely having an effect on the signal. But it's still very noisy. There may be some EEG in there, but just using the dry electrode, we're not getting a good enough contact with the skin. So what we can do is we can leave this for 10 minutes and see if we can get a cleaner signal after we've got a better connection. Okay, so it's been about 10-15 minutes, and now we can have a look at our signal and see if it's clearer. Okay, and so we definitely reduced the amplitude of our signal after 10-15 minutes. And what we could be seeing now is EEG, but we could also be seeing other artifacts as well. So we can demonstrate these to you just by me blinking my eyes. So you can clearly see the jump in the signal is to do with my eye movements, and that's because the electrode's right beside my eyes. And then if I do some facial expressions, so I'm really happy, I'm using the neco, yay, so excited. And that's EMG coming through, so that's me moving different muscles in my face. And just even me talking right now is creating artifacts just by me again moving my facial muscles. And there's also movement artifacts in there, so if I move my head. So it's something that I could be doing while I play the game, because there's nothing in the instructions that say you're to remain completely still, but you can clearly see that this is all affecting the signal. So looking at our frequency spectrum we're getting there from the Fourier transform, we're definitely getting frequencies in the EEG band, so that's good. That means there is EEG in there, but as we've just demonstrated, there's so many other artifacts going on. It's difficult to see how these devices are just measuring the EEG and using that to control the device. It's completely up to you whether you believe these devices are working the way they say they are, but it does seem quite obvious that it's very difficult to just measure your brain waves or your EEG without measuring other artifacts as well, and this is all going to have an effect on the output of these devices. Now, we don't know exactly what kind of filters all these devices are using, and they may claim that they remove different artifacts by doing different things, but the EMG spectrum is within the EEG spectrum, so it would be impossible to completely remove the EMG while still leaving the EEG, so it's probably unlikely that they're doing that. So we've created a YouTube playlist so you can have a look at lots of the different devices that are available commercially, and also different applications of the same kind of head device, different electrodes, and you can make up your own mind what you think these videos are showing or what you think the device is measuring.